Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night.
We have a fantastic match tonight, no question about it.
Oh my god, yes!
Put the barrage! Make sure they can't even follow up afterwards.
And Wash has found 2 in this fight thus far. Make that 3, make that 4 right now here. Dynamic team gets a 4-man tire.
Those who find the picks will save the fight, and they don't really need to save what they've already.
We get 3 with the primal rage.
Experience tranquility.
What's up, Tranquility viewers? You are watching the Season 9 play-ins for Transcendence tier. These are your highest rated teams squaring up to see who will make it to the playoffs. Today, the Billings Boomers will be taking on Reckless Sigma in a battle of wit, coordination, and of course, Overwatch 2, gameplay mechanics. My name is Jonesy, and I will be your host with my good friend, Nerfed. Nerfed, how we doing this evening?
You killed it, Jonesy, with the intro. Good job. I'm doing pretty good. Besides the fact that my throat is very upset at me for screaming throughout the entirety of a pep rally, I'm doing pretty good. Excited to see what I think is going to be a really close match.
I completely agree. Pep rallies aside, and by the way, it's been a minute since I've been at a pep rally, but that being said, I was often the yeller at those pep rallies, as you can probably imagine. We have Billings Boomers, we have Reckless Sigma. So what's going on with these teams in recent history? Well, if you look at these teams, we've got Billings Boomers at a 4-0 against Poggers, a 3-1 against Death Cards, and then a 3-0 to a forfeit. So we've got a team with momentum coming into this match. Looking on the other side of the bend, we got Reckless Sigma with a 1-3 against Frostfisher, a 4-0 to a forfeit, and an 0-3 to Amnesia. Nerfed, I don't know how quite to say this, but it looks like we've got momentum on one side, and we've got some troubles on the other.
Yeah, Sigma definitely have not had the greatest run as of late. Some would even argue that their seed as the 4th is kind of undeserved, seeing as how they lost both of the matches they played, and their only win in Stage 2 was a 4-0 forfeit from the Arctic Foxes. They got swept last week against Amnesia. However, I think that's something that most people would have expected to see. But I think throughout the entirety of Stage 1, there was definitely good showings out of them. So it's not all like gloom and doom for the Sigma. I think that these two teams are in very similar places, even with the momentum kind of going in opposite directions for the two of them.
I completely agree. Looking at Reckless Sigma, you're seeing match 1, they had a sub in, lost 0-4 to Decapitators, 3-2 against Krabby Crabbers, a 4-0 against Poggers, and a 3-1 against Classified. So earlier on in the season, you saw a lot of success from this team, only some recent falters. Let's see whether they can turn that around and see if they can get into these playoffs. Now, any other thoughts, Nerfed, on these teams before we start jumping in to this map selection and first round?
I mean, just like in general, I don't think, I know I just like talked about how Sigma's had like a rough stage as of late. But even then, like they took Devil Dukes to 5. It was a relatively close series that they played against Frostfisher. So like I said, not all doom and gloom. Sigma definitely have a chance here. And honestly, I'm not sure what people would argue about this, but I think that Sigma are slightly the favorites. Even though I'm here going to go for a little bit of a bold prediction and say the Boomers win this.
It's hard not to look at momentum when you look at teams. And I mean, you take a look at any one of these brackets from, whether it be Season 8 Harmony tier, whether it be other groups, and you can see teams that might falter early on and then find their rush middle of the play-ins, and that might be Reckless Sigma starting in this match. So this is their chance to turn things around in terms of momentum. Why don't we take a look and see what else we can look at here? Do we have any map selections in at this time? What are we looking at in this match?
I do not believe... Okay, so from my earpiece, I hear the first map is going to be Oasis. Definitely interesting. This week is kind of it's different, I'll say. There's a sort of transition period going on right now in the meta. On the live servers, the Zarya Diva stuff is not quite getting phased out yet. Their nerfs come in next week. But the monkey comp, a lot of people we've seen, and I mean, we've only seen the Harmony tier matches this week so far, but a lot of people are opting to just start playing the monkey comp now, you know, like get it out of the way, start learning it, because I mean, after this week, Zarya comp's kind of gonna get phased out. So I am very interested to see whether these teams will stick to their guns, kind of run the old comps that we've seen throughout the rest of the stage, or whether we will be jumping into a kind of new frontier.
It's interesting when you're looking at, of course, you know, the Overwatch 2, the finals that recently, you know, everybody observed is how the Dallas Fuel were able to take a lot of team coordination with that monkey comp and find a way to shut down some serious mechanical skill coming from the Shock, obviously in the way of Edison. So it'd be very interesting to see in this match whether we see coordination or individual gameplay mechanics win out. That's a very exciting thing that we're seeing in Overwatch 2. A lot of metas yet to be discovered as we're still figuring out a lot of the co-interactions that various abilities play in the team fight. So jumping in, it looks like we are getting into Oasis. Now, Oasis, not a new map, and a lot of opportunity in this map for comp switch-ups as we look at the various areas that the map can take place. Obviously, Oasis being a control point map, where teams are looking to control a center location, and the map then changes as a control point is either captured by one team or the other. In Oasis, you get a unique set and diversity of various options that teams can undergo in order to win some of these maps. Obviously, you have the really close range of maps like University, and then you have City Center that tend to be far more out in the open and support more of a dive. So it'd be interesting to see how teams coordinate in order to take some of these capture points in the upcoming map.
I think what's so great about the monkey comp in general that we've seen recently is that you can kind of do a lot of things with it. It has the dive aspect, it has kind of a brawly six-man-esque aspect to it as well.
Five guys.
Five men, yeah, I will say. There is a lot of room for interpretation on how to play this comp. As we jump into the first fight, the Boomers taking a quick lead, Gen Z.
Yeah, so looking at this immediately, we can see Boomers playing on this monkey comp that we anticipated. It looks like they're being mirrored on the other side. Excuse me, we are seeing a Zarya composition from the other side. So it looks like the Winston composition early on is already seeing some of the success that we anticipated early on. So it'd be interesting to see whether this Zarya composition can put out enough damage in order to make this stuff happen. So it looks like we've got Zarya looking to make some plays here on the side of Reckless Sigma, but the Monkey able to jump in and kind of zone out some of these plays here. This is an interesting fight already unfolding. We have already Reaper from Reckless Sigma looking to create some space here with some damage. Looks like the damage is coming through as Pufa is taken down on the Lucio. And we're already seeing a couple of picks now on the side of Reckless Sigma, looking to see if they can take advantage of the fact that they have more damage potential in the pocket. I think Billings Boomers are taking a little bit too much space here, playing a little aggressive on this monkey comp. They need to look for their opportunities and find a way to capitalize them. But as we see Calypso again with the kill on Pongo, it looks like this fight's over in there.
Yeah, I think the Reaper here is just like quintessential to how you're going to play the rest of the comp. Tusky did go down early there, however, just like the Reaper is the major thing that you're able to shut the monkey down with. So I think having that on the side of Sigma as opposed to the Genji, which we've seen very frequently, I think that that's very big for Sigma here.
Totally agreed, and we're seeing right now Reckless Sigma with the high ground advantage, looking to take advantage of that here with the Sojourn in the form of looking at this opportunity for an ultimate advantage, trying to see if they can find some shots, and an incredible shot on Pufa, looking to capitalize more on that. The Monkey very low, looking to see if they can get healed. No luck on that, so Calypso taking down 2 in this fight, looking at that high ground advantage and then dropping down when it matters in order to be able to finish off some of these kills. We're looking at a little bit of late game fight stuff going on here, but it looks like it will be Reckless Sigma coming out with the win on this fight.
These fights so scrappy. It's just back and forth, picks in either direction. But what we've seen is that Astro Zerg is yet to be taken down. Them just staying alive on the Zarya is crucial for Sigma here, as that tank is just able to completely mitigate any other picks that go through and can just kind of tank everything.
Absolutely, and when we're looking at this fight right now, you can see, look at the aggression coming from Tescu on this defense, jumping into the pocket. It's going to be really challenging for this dive comp to take space in such a small area. You're looking at Reckless Sigma taking advantage of the fact that they can hold space with this damage as a form of tanking. Jumping in, Tescu getting a massive kill and owning that fight.
Yeah, and they did that with one ult, which is pretty big considering the ult advantage that it looks like Boomers are going to be coming in with. But again, we just see the grab instantly and the 2 support ults thrown out to counter it. So Sigma kind of are winning the ult economy here, despite coming in with a disadvantage.
It's incredible to see as we're looking at this. You can tell that you have this Winston composition trying to come in and find some space in this fight, but with Sigma playing so aggressively on this Zarya composition, not giving them the space to play with. But Pongo, with the kill on Calypso, trying to see if they can take control of this fight with some serious mechanics on Winston, turns it around. Astro with the Zarya play, finding ways to damage their way through Poofa, and now we have Protagonist finding a boop kill onto Chromo, and finally, we're looking at, again, Pongo coming into the fight, trying to get some final pickoffs. But if you look at the numbers, it's just going the way of the blue. It's going the way of Reckless Sigma, able to take out the final members of the team, able to find opportunities to use the damage that they have available to hold this space effectively. And that's an objective take there for Reckless Sigma on this first map of Oasis.
We can't see the leaderboard, but I'm pretty sure Astro Zerg did not die. And when there's picks going back and forth, once the monkey drops from Boomers, which, like I said, with the Reaper and as well the Sojourn, those are both like pretty good at dealing with the monkey. When Zerg isn't dying, and it's just even like Tango's down, Boomers kind of just lose the fight. And that's what I think we saw from a lot of those fights there, was it would just be Pongo dies and the fight's over, Sigma win.
It's an interesting question right now in the meta of whether you play to the Winston comp or you play to the Zarya comp. Obviously, the Winston comp is more forward-looking as you're waiting for some of those changes to the meta coming through. But with that in mind, right now, we're in the play-ins. This is a time to take advantage of your team's strengths, and it's very important that we're able to utilize this Zarya composition for what it's useful for. That being said, here we are on City Center, engaging already from Billings Boomers onto the high ground, looking to take down this D.Va mech. It looks like the D.Va mech is already taken down in the fight. That's a very important early lack of resources on the side of Billings Boomers. Reckless Sigma controlling the fight right now, taking advantage of the fact that they're the Billings Boomers tank line is now a little bit weaker, but looking to possibly turn around this momentum. As again, we're seeing Billings Boomers on this Winston comp, finally looking to take advantage of the fact that this map has a lot of space to be able to dive into. Now, finally, Reckless Sigma on the D.Va, finding the D.Va mech back, looking for picks in the middle of this fight. Looks like we have Pongo on Tescu. So we are currently 4-4 now with an advantage on Reckless Sigma with Poofa down. Calypso taking out Chief, finishing the 1v1. And we're looking at, again, just a cleanup of the fight. Looks like Sigma's going to take this one, Nerf.
Yeah, I mean, I alluded to it last time, but Sigma did come out here on the Genji, which, like I said, I think is a little bit worse at taking down the monkey. However, now we're seeing some swaps. Tescu did go to the Reaper off the Genji, and Pongo's now swapping to the Zarya. The rest of the comp isn't switching though, which is kind of interesting considering that the rest of this comp is built to like kind of provide for the monkey, go in fast. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays around the Zarya here.
Totally agreed, and we're looking at early pickoff on Chief from Astro Zerg. Looked like cleaning up some damage that came from the high ground from Calypso on Reckless Sigma. Now we have ultimate advantage on the side of Reckless Sigma, but they don't need to use them here. They're already looking at a serious advantage, although with that D-Mech, that might be an important shift in momentum. Doesn't look like it will prove to actualize itself in this fight already with the pick potential coming from Reckless Sigma on that aggressive high ground. We're seeing already, again, a headshot on Tamara, an aggressive play. We're seeing a serious amount of map potential and map advantage from Reckless Sigma, just being able to own this fight without needing to commit too much here. We're already seeing a little bit more ultimate advantage from Billings Boomers. Let's see if they can capitalize on that here.
Yeah, they ended last fight throwing in 2 when they had arguably won the fight. We're gonna see a cap here from the Boomers. The point will get flipped, and we're gonna see some ults come out. The Kitsune on both sides. But it looks like for now at least, Boomers will be able to hold the point with a beat coming out from both sides as well.
But with Pongo, the kill on Tescu, very critical as you're reducing a lot of damage potential from Billings Boomers. We're seeing a lot of aggressive plays here from Billings Boomers. You love to see it as they step into the pocket, jump in from the side. On Mara, looking at a flanking kill on Calypso, finding ways to take advantage of that multi-directional offense that we're seeing coming from Billings Boomers, able to hold the point. Now we're looking at a 67 to 65% cap rate. We're seeing a very even game, but with massive ultimate potential on the way of Billings Boomers.
Sigma just have the Blossom for this fight. They're swapping to the Monkey comp, but they have a long ways to go. As we just see Boomers dump the Grav, they dump the Blossom, but it goes both ways. Tescu gets 3 somehow.
Tescu with a massive counter offensive there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. At the end of the day. You see a team fight that is relatively decided, but this is a very interesting point in Overwatch right now. The question is, do Billings Boomers peel for their team's respawns, or do they try to hold this point? It looks like they're going to try to hold that 99% potential and continue on with the fight. You see a dive going in from the tank, but Chief takes out Tescu with a massive headshot. And Chief again with another huge pick off. Chief absolutely owning the lobby right now. And with some cleanup from their team, it looks like the Billings Boomers are going to be able to turn the momentum of this map around with a 1-1 match. Objectives secured for Billings Boomers. Let's see if they can keep up this potential. Nerf, this is an incredible match. What are your thoughts so far?
I thought, honestly, that there was a chance there at the end from Sigma, because when Sigma used 1 ult, it seems like Boomers are using 2, and eventually that'll catch up to you. Boomers throwing in the Blossom and the Grav, getting the same amount of kills as Sigma do with just the Blossom, and then they come in very close to the overclock for the next fight. It looked like they had a chance to kind of break open the point and take the recap, but unfortunately they just can't get it done.
Really exciting stuff coming here from both teams. Obviously, we're at a 1-1, so we're going to the third map, looking to see if we can decide this one. And obviously, we have a map here that's focusing far more on closer damage potential, which is why we're seeing this Zarya composition coming in from both sides. We have a mirror going on. Let's see which team can focus targets down better and find a way to set the tempo of this match.
As we've seen the series go on, Boomers have gravitated more towards the Zarya, no pun intended. Which, you know, Sigma started off on that. They've kind of got the upper hand there.
And Calypso with a massive pick-off on Pufa early on. Pufa dying a lot early in these fights. We'll see if that true proves to be a pattern throughout this match. Tescu with some cleanup. Astro again. Tescu finding some kills. Again on Mara, we're looking at a reckless Sigma team able to initiate effectively in this mirror and finding opportunities to get some important pick-offs early on in the fight that set them up for some aggression. We know already in Overwatch 2, initiation is the key, and it looks like Reckless Sigma are able to take advantage of that very effectively in these fights.
A key difference to pay attention to here is the difference between the flex supports, the Bat versus the Kiriko, because I personally do not like how Kiriko plays with the Zarya comp. A lot more like fast pace and divey. Tescu with an early pick on Mara there. Just so crucial, these early picks that Sigma are getting here to just kind of keep their control on the point over the Boomers.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you're looking at this already, you can see Reckless Sigma mechanically proficient in these short range fights. When we're looking at Billings Boomers, we saw that they had a lot of opportunity to take advantage of fights while they were on the high ground, while they had map advantage, but finding that they're being more challenged by some of these closer range fights. But Chief with some massive headshots and Tescu with the picks to respond. So we're looking at an even fight here, but a lot of charge on this Zarya here on the side of Billings Boomers, looking to see if we can take advantage of that in this fight. But
it's just the Zarya.
Being left alone. Tescu getting that pick there. Mara responding with the pick on Tescu. Protagonist looking to finalize it with Mara. So we're looking at a very close fight here, but ultimately speaking, Reckless Sigma able to hold the numbers on the point here. We're seeing a team that's able to brawl more effectively with this Zarya comp on short range, close combat fights with those mechanics that just can't go unnoticed in Overwatch 2.
The overclock comes out early, but these picks from Tescu are just so clutch, automatically getting one on Tamara with the Blossom. It's crazy to see, and Calypso just gets Poofa. The Lucios will trade out, but at this point, Calypso still has the overclock up. The members from Boomers are low. This looks like it'll just be Sigma taking the first map.
An incredible showing from Tescu on the Reaper. It can't go understated, the value of the Reaper on this particular map. I think a lot of teams should be looking at how Reckless Sigma played the Reaper on this map here, take advantage of the fact that we saw a lot of creativity here from Tescu, and that's something that needs to be analyzed. Again, Overwatch 2 still a game that's still in the early stages of being fully understood, and Tescu showing how effective Reaper can be even in this play of the game where aggression wins out. If you can push even past the choke, you can do a surprising amount of influence on a match on this Reaper character, even if the enemy team is running characters like Zarya, which can normally pressure against that with bubbles.
Tescu's impact on that map was just so crucial. Being able to start every single fight up one, especially now that we're in a 5v5 scenario, one pick means a lot more than it used to, especially when you're getting that on, say, a Sojourn, who's a large portion of your team's damage percentage. Or even a Kiriko. Kiriko is very big for getting the heals, getting all the damage, and that Suzu is just such a crucial ability for turning fights. It's great to see that Tescu is able to get those picks initially to start basically every fight. And from there, it just looked like Sigma was able to capitalize, and while fights may have been scrappy at times, they ended up coming out clutch at the end.
So far as I'm looking at this, I see Reckless Sigma able to take advantage of mechanical skill in these strict 1v1 comparison type situations where you have a simple flat ground to deal with, but Billings Boomers able to use the map geometry to their advantage, finding some success on City Center. I'd be interested to see, as the maps start to develop and change over the course of this series, whether Billings Boomers can find more opportunities to take advantage of this map geometry to find these successes on these aggressive compositions. I think what I want to see from Boomers is some amount of aggression matching on the side of Reckless Sigma. Sigma is jumping into these fights with such aggression that Boomers feel like they're on the back foot constantly because picks are happening faster than the fight even develops. That's just the nature of Overwatch 2 as we see it today. These pickups are happening faster than you'd ever expect, and it's winning fights.
Yeah, and like I said, like, it seems like both of these teams had this kind of a set idea as to how they wanted to play. Boomer's kind of going more towards the new, running the monkey comp and trying to work on that. Whereas Sigma stuck to their guns. They ran the Zarya comp and it worked. And as the map went on, Boomers ended up swapping. They ended up mirroring. And so it's crazy to see how Sigma's able to force another team to completely change up their game plan. And just, hey, you're gonna do what we do, and we're better at it because this is what we want to do and not what you want to do. So
and in fairness, there is some amount of playing to the map that you're on that goes into that as well. True. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, on the final map, Zarya comp is kind of the meta regardless of how you slice it. It's interesting to see some amount of creativity from Billings Boomers on the Winston comp while in University, as that's probably a map that you might not necessarily expect to see it. But with that said, it's important to see that Reckless Sigma are willing to accept any amount of cost in the short term in order to win this fight. I like the fact that they're going for it with that level of aggression, and I'm interested to see how they apply that in some of the more complicated maps that are upcoming. With that in mind, speaking of maps, do we have any clue on what next maps might look like here?
If I were to guess, what we saw the best from Boomers was the dive. The monkey, Kiriko, Lucio, that sort of thing. And you know, we don't have one yet. However, we do actually have one. It is Midtown. Which
I'm always asking you at the perfect time,
yeah.
where it's like just now meeting it.
We're getting them,
then
yeah.
I cut you off guard, and then you get it. Yes, exactly.
So I was gonna say that maybe Paricio is a good pick. However, Midtown again, pretty good as well. That second point is very open for the dives. And while we've seen a lot of Zarya comp on this map in the past, you've kind of just seen Zarya comp everywhere. I think that as soon as you get through the choke under the train tunnel, there's just so much open space on the first point. Second point is very open. The third point is kind of the only really enclosed space on this map. So I think that this is a great place to see the dive. However, we're going to be seeing Zarya mirrors from both teams.
Also, I just have to say, prior to starting cast, I was asking Nerfed a lot of questions about, you know, some of the details of Overwatch 2, Nerf being far more learned on some of this than I am. Nerf predicted a Midtown pick immediately on the map switch. So it's interesting to see that that was absolutely the facts of the case here. So Nerfed literally predicting things, aka predicting Tranquility prior to stream even starting. But here we are getting started here, and it looks like we do have a Zarya composition mirror looking at the Zarya plus Reaper to execute that damage. And looks like already we're seeing some really aggressive play from the side of Billings Boomers, taking space already behind the fire truck, looking to see if they can engage on this point really early on, taking the space of that building. Now we have Billings Boomers finding their way around that corner, but Calypso with the incredible shot on Mara is already canceling a lot of the aggressive forward damage that would have come from Billings Boomers. Billings Boomers gonna have to disengage from this fight to some extent in order to just be able to lick their wounds and move on, but not disengaging aggressively enough. With Pongo going down from Protagonist from some damage from the DPS, looking at completely nullifying Reckless Sigma's offense on this fight.
It was such a good fight from Sigma. They run back to the point almost immediately and just take the fight where where Boomers rather want to go. And eventually, you know, they just hold off all the aggression from Boomers. They can't come on the point now. And we're seeing a lot of poke, which is exactly what we wanted to see for Sigma, where they get.
But an incredible pickoff, Chief hitting the headshot on Tescu. What an incredible pickoff! That's an important swing of momentum. Pufa finally finishing off the Baptiste on the side of Reckless Sigma, able to solidify that momentum advantage, and we're looking at a team here that's willing to capitalize on their investments on the point. Already holding some folks on point, but able to continue to pressure even beyond point here, Nerf.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, that pick just immediately opens up the point for them, and it looked kind of for a second like Sigma wanted to come in for a recontest. But the pressure from Boomers just completely holds them back in their spawn. So Sigma will just take the fight, lose point, and they'll set up early on the second point. The grab early from Zerg, and they'll get Zephyr here. But the counter grab from Pongo, not getting as much, and in fact, both Zaryas might go down here if we see the pick on the Pongo, which, yeah, we will.
And actually a decent defense here coming from Reckless Sigma, making some unusual or maybe difficult decisions in the short term, and finally able to actually hold off on this second point here as we're moving forward, trying to progress the payload. But Reckless Sigma looking to reset onto this high ground, looking to finally set up a next engage where Astro can jump into this fight and see if they can't capitalize on another pick. Obviously, both teams looking for some picks from their Sojourns, with Calypso really close to their ultimate. And Calypso hitting an incredible headshot on Tomorrow, looking to capitalize on that, continuing their momentum with a pick onto Pufa, an incredible headshot, moving forward with this immortality field and finishing off Pongo. And we're moving forward, trying to finalize some of these pickoffs. And Chief with an incredible headshot rather, shutting down Calypso, but it isn't enough. With enough down on Billings Boomers, they're gonna have to reset and set back up in their respawn point, with Reckless Sigma being given an opportunity to get reset on this high ground. Nerfed, what do you think about this ultimate fight and this ultimate advantage on the side of Sigma?
Sigma do have, like, they're building the 3 here, but we will see the mirror from Zephyr onto the back. They've been running with the Kiriko a lot here. Tescu, an early Blossom.
Looking for the Death Blossom, unable to capitalize on it, getting taken down, and now the momentum has shifted, but a massive beat from Protagonist is able to turn the ultimate momentum back in the side of Reckless Sigma. The tempo has been realized, the tempo has been set. Finally, Reckless Sigma looking for some flanking kills coming from Calypso on this Sojourn, seeing if they can hit some shots. Now, Billings Boomers in a difficult spot, stuck in the middle between a rock and a hard place,
split.
looking to see if they can take some advantage here. on this lower ground of this area. But as we know, low ground tends to have it be a disadvantage.
Oh my gosh.
Chief Pongo and Chromo able to easily take advantage of the fact that Reckless Sigma stepped into the hot seat there. Nerfed, what did we
Oh my
see here on a
gosh.
momentum change here?
That looked like Sigma's fight. The Pongo split themselves off into the room on the left, and it looked like the Sigma were just going to run in and get it. But Sigma coming in here with a recontest, they throw the grab, but it looks like they're still not going to be able to hold this point.
Can I just say, predicted? I talked about Billings Boomers being able to take advantage of map geometry in order to win some of these fights. Tell me we did not just see that on that low ground. Billings Boomers able to turn around a fight from a low ground disadvantage into a massive advantage by funneling Reckless Sigma into that sidewall and finding ways to take advantage of that positional advantage, and then moving forward on a positional advantage near to the capture point, able to pick off all the final remaining members of Reckless Sigma. And importantly, after committing some of those ultimates, able to then build up their ultimates again by getting some of those pickoffs near the point of capture. So now Billings Boomers, in fact, looking more aggressive on the side of the ultimate advantage and looking to capitalize on that now. Now, they're looking at pressuring this corner advantage, looking to push on this front left side as they move forward with this card advantage and finding opportunities to look for pickoffs on this far ground. It looks like in fact, Reckless Sigma able to push back Billings Boomers with some long-range pressure and threats. But is this just Billings Boomers taking advantage of the map advantage? Again, Billings Boomers looking at utilizing the damage potential from the Baptiste ultimate.
Oh,
But Calypso
Calypso
shutting down this advance by finding some incredible kills. Calypso with 3. Moving forward, looking for another kill. Give Calypso another. Calypso with 4, but getting taken down by Chief with a headshot at the end. This is an incredible example of map advantage sometimes being a misleading potential, Nerfed.
Last map was Testcues, but Calypso, they just kind of said, this is mine. And it kind of plays a lot more to the Sojourn, whereas it's a lot less enclosed for the Reaper to get the picks. We'll see the early grab on the Pongo, but no picks come out of it either way, with the beat coming out from Boomers. Oh,
But Chief with the
early
massive shot onto Tescu, looking to take advantage of that. Here, as we're moving into the mid-fight, Chief with the incredible shot on Calypso.
Oh, wow.
Chief again on Astro. Who can stop this guy? Chief moving forward, taking advantage of space. The rest of the team closes out on the final 2 picks of Reckless Sigma. And Billings Boomers looking incredibly proficient on this map take advantage. Committing the Death Blossom, finding some damage. Finally, Chrome able to escalate on those kills. And we see a map take from Billings Boomers. A serious momentum shift here in the second round of this fight. Nerfed, what are your thoughts on these teams?
It's just the battle of the Sojourns, in my opinion. It's whichever Sojourn is able to open the fight up early, get the pick, and then just the rest of the team able to steamroll from there. Chief and Calypso are both playing crazy games, and when they get the pick, it's just kind of a steamroll from there for their team, just able to win the fight out, which is crucial. The big thing here for Boomers is the fact that they finish with over a minute, so no matter what Sigma are able to do on their offense, they'll get a second attempt if needed.
And it makes sense when you're looking at the Sojourn play on this map. This map is obviously a map that has much longer ranges than what Oasis did. So you're going to tend to see some more Sojourn dominance as you're looking across some of these mid to long range fights where Sojourn, with enough mechanical skill, can hit headshots or body shots on half HP targets that can get pickoffs that are so critical to these fights. Sojourn just having an incredible amount of potential in maps like this one, and we can see how much it matters. Last map, we were just seeing the praises of Tescu and singing the praises of some of the tank play. Now it's all eyes on the Sojourn to take advantage of these mid to long range fights, and I'm excited to see how Chief responds to Calypso's aggression and vice versa in this Reckless Sigma offense.
Early rotation coming out here from Sigma. They'll just try to take control of the market over there. But they will be pressured. Boomers are not giving up that room for free. That's a very good place to set up your supports. and kind of just like go back to like take a second, calm down. But you know, immediately we're just seeing poke in this room. Sigma do end up taking control of the room, but the Zaryas are just going to battle it out here. See which one of them is able to get a pick first.
What an incredible...
And
Oh, and what a shot from Calypso with a headshot on Chief! Shutting down the enemy soldier. What an incredible repeat from Mara. Mara coming in, finding a flank, looking for opportunity, taking down Tescu. This is a really close fight here as Reckless Sigma are looking to push out of this space.
Oh,
Calypso
wow.
with another shot on Chrome. And we're looking at a finally destruction of the immortality field on the side of Reckless Sigma, but Astro closing it out with Mara, Calypso with another shot on Pongo, and finally Zero with a headshot onto Chief. We're looking at a very critical mechanical output coming from Sigma, showing dominance on the ability to take the map and find an opportunity to look at options next to the point. And they know, listen, Sigma says, look, if you get us into a 1v1 scenario without map potential and map geometry to protect you, we are going to beat you on the mechanics game. And it looks like they're solidifying that reality here now with that offense. But let's see if Billings Boomers can turn this around.
The grab from Zerg is crucial, but the window is just going to hold them all together. The lamp, rather. And we see the counter grab coming out from Pongo. Zerg will get a pick on Mara, and it looks like Boomers are just going to have to back up. I think we've sung the praises a lot of the DPS in this match, but I think that it's time that we give the support some love, because Olin on that fight to open up first point kind of just like, I mean, wasn't a whole ton of work just standing in the room firing through the window with your healing, but it was crucial for Sigma to be able to open up that fight.
Absolutely, 100% agreed. You can tell Reckless Sigma able to quickly adapt to very quickly changing defensive situations, and that's a sign that your supports are doing what they need to do to adapt to the fight. We're looking at a fight on the high ground now. Interestingly, Sigma looking to hold this high ground. They do not want to give up this high ground advantage. Billings Boomers setting up with the window, looking to set up aggressively to push them off this high ground. And Chrome with the kill on Zero. Finally, Pongo with the kill on Tescu, looking to see if they can rotate this momentum and take advantage of this high ground. Billings Boomers, again, I couldn't have spelled it better, Nerf, for our audience here today. But Billings Boomers, if you give them a chance to take advantage of map geometry, they will do it. I don't know how else to put this, but this really feels like a battle of mechanical skill versus map understanding and map control. This is really a set of the individual micro game versus the meta game. Again, micro game coming from Sigma, meta game coming from Boomers. Really excited to see if Boomers can continue to take advantage of this high ground advantage to slow down Sigma's aggressive mechanical push forward on this offense on this point here.
We're seeing a flip of the map right now. Boomers had to throw 2 ults into that fight, and Sigma kind of just let them have it. They're coming up to 5 now. If Zerg can build this grav fast enough, they will have 5 for this fight, and we'll see the window popped early here from Olin, just to kind of deny some space for Sigma here.
Tescu with the massive Death Blossom, looking for an opportunity to get multiple, but it gets stopped by a fantastic ultimate from Lucio on the side of Billings Boomers, but the damage is done. Billings Boomers licking their wounds with some members of their team down, looking to back up on this fight. Reckless Sigma pushing forward with aggression on the card, taking the high ground advantage of Billings Boomers. Calypso with the massive headshot onto Poofa. Poofa getting picked off early on in these fights. Calypso with another incredible headshot onto Chief, but Mara responding with a triple kill with aid from their ultimate. Mara absolutely destroying the competition from Billings Boomers, looking to rotate that map potential. Once Reckless Sigma drops down, we're saying we're going to take advantage of that situation, and in fact, we're going to punish you for it. Nerf, what is going on in these fights?
I just said that Sigma had 5. Not anymore. It's a clean slate now, and Boomers are going to be coming in with 2. The window overclock is pretty good. I mean, you just kind of like body one shot everybody. Pongo will find an early pick on the Zerg, and it looks like
very important pick as well, as that it's a pick onto the tank. So Reckless Sigma forced to jump back into their spawn as they lose their main tank. Chief with an incredible headshot onto Calypso. really solidifying some of the Sojourn dominance from the side of Billings Boomers, proving that map geometry is not their only advantage. They can play a game on the mechanical skill side. Can Reckless Sigma find a way to move through this map, to take advantage of the map in order to finally actualize their mechanical skill? We've seen a lot of falters there, but we're seeing a serious and important ultimate advantage on the side of Billings Boomers. We're moving forward with this window, looking to see if we can get some damage potential, moving in early on in the fight, but with Tescu being taken out early, and we're moving forward.
They just
Billings
have to
Boomers
reset.
taking advantage of their potential, and they're finally just closing out this fight very handily with that ultimate advantage that we talked about, with Chief being able to take advantage of those consistent laser beams, getting headshots with them, finding opportunities to shut down Reckless Sigma on this offense.
Boomers are not afraid to drop ults. They are not afraid to dump ults into a fight just to win it. And it's working out for them very well, as they've shown that they have complete grasp of this second point, and they're just able to fully control this.
And an incredible set of ultimate abilities committed from the side of Sigma, but unable to capitalize on it, as Billings Boomers take advantage of the map geometry to just simply yeet themselves out of the fight, able to ignore the fact that a window is dropped. But Poofa finding a kill on Tescu. Finally,
no.
Chrome, Calypso, Chief on Astro, Poofa on Zero, Chief on Protagonist. We're looking at a seriously red kill feed here, Nerf. And that's going to spell the end of this round, with Billings Boomers able to utilize map geometry in their favor to shut down Reckless Sigma with their significantly appearing mechanical skill advantage. But finding that high ground was a challenge for Billings Boomers, and we're seeing a significant shift in momentum adjustment on this match. Nerfed, what are your thoughts moving forward into this match?
Just keep talking about the Reapers, man. But like, they're kind of just coming up crucial. As soon as the team needs like a Reaper to kind of just get a 5k with the Blossom, you know, it's like you just speak it into existence. Immediately, like the amount of fights that we've seen that have just looked so lost from one team, but they just dump ults, they'll throw the Reaper ult in there, they'll pop the overclock, and you know, it works out. I mean, there's been too many fights where it'll just turn the other way on the willingness of the DPS to just win the fight.
And I totally agree with you. The mechanical skill of the DPS are playing a big role in these fights. With that in mind, I think that critically speaking, the coaching role between these two sides is looking to be a bit favored on the side of Billings Boomers, as they're able to aggressively take some of the more important sections of the map and take advantage of those sections to be able to therefore aggress on the enemy when they see it to be necessary. What we might have found here is Billings Boomers finding opportunities to find success on the new Overwatch 2 maps, probably from some serious work on understanding the tempo of those maps, while Reckless Sigma looking to rely on some of that mechanical skill to find pickoffs, find opportunities to set the tempo of the fights. It'll be interesting to see whether Billings Boomers can hold this advantage and momentum moving into this next map, while they look to take advantage of this in a one-to-one setting right now, where it's really the question, in my opinion, of Overwatch coordination versus mechanical skill and short-term thought process proficiency between, again, Billings Boomers and Reckless Sigma. Excited to see how this match progresses. And what are we moving on to, Nerfed, here? Are we looking at another map, or is this halftime?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's been a close series so far, but for now, we are going to a halftime. We'll have to see where these two teams end up on the other side of it. As we're moving into Escort. We'll see you on the other side.
What's up, Tranquility viewers? We are back with Reckless Sigma against Billings Boomers in a 1-to-1 so far map differential. We're looking at a very close match where we're seeing Reckless Sigma taking advantage of their mechanical skill while Billings Boomers looking to fight back with some serious understanding of the map geometries and overall high-level meta strategies going into some of these maps. Nerfed, what are your thoughts on the match moving forward?
It's been a close match so far. Definitely a very interesting one to watch. But I just want to take a quick look at some of the other matches that we're seeing around the trans tier because this is interesting. What I'm seeing right now. So the Arctic Foxes will get a 3-0 because Sydney Sunsets did have unfortunately forfeit their match. So Arctic are kind of making a run through the Elam bracket, it looks like. The next match that we'll see is Classified versus Death Cards are 1-1 right now. Another close match, another two teams that I think are pretty close together in terms of skill. The decaps are up 2-0 against Amnesia, which I think a lot of people would have expected. But what a lot of people would not have expected is the Devil Dukes going up 2-0 against the Guangzhou Gangsters. Guangzhou have looked great all season, but unfortunately it just seems like the last couple weeks they've kind of stumbled a little bit. So going from Titans of the Trans tier to kind of, I mean, as of recent, it's not been as hopeful.
Very exciting matches as we're seeing again in this Transcendence tier. A lot of teams looking to solidify their place into the playoffs as we're going into some of these matches. And here we are again with Billings Boomers against Reckless Sigma at an even keel, looking to see which team can take advantage of this match and shift the momentum in their favor. Obviously, Billings Boomers coming out with a W on the previous map, taking advantage again of a geometry in order to take advantage of strategy and high-level meta plays against Reckless Sigma. But with Reckless Sigma, again, still finding opportunities to make some seriously aggressive plays that are setting the tempo of some of these fights. Let's see if they can't turn the momentum in this match in their direction as they continue to aggress on Billings Boomers.
And something we see a lot in these playoffs matches is that the team that picks the map ends up winning. And we've seen a lot of Zarya, we've seen a little bit of Monkey on the first map, but something we haven't seen a lot of is the poke stuff. Monkey Diva stuff is still viable, same with Zarya, especially on the second and third points. But what you primarily see on Circuit Royale is the Sigma. And it looks like, with Reckless Sigma picking this map, they're taking to their namesake, although not actually, as, I mean, I'm wondering if this hog is bait or not.
It would be interesting, Spectre, playing a bit of mind games here from Reckless Sigma on this hog, maybe goading chat and us along.
No.
But we do see the swap, and it's a swap that we expected. Nerfed calling it well. We're seeing a Sigma v Sigma matchup. Nerfed, what are your thoughts on this Sigma matchup moving into this?
I mean, the hog isn't, like, awful. It's a pretty good counter to the monkey stuff, so if Sigma thought that that was what we were going to see here from the Boomers, I wouldn't honestly be that surprised by a hog pick here. But unfortunately, we are going to a poke mirror. Both teams on the Widow, so it'll be interesting to see because Chief and Calypso have been crucial in getting the opening picks on these fights.
Absolutely, Calypso looking for a shot already on this far low ground, looking to see if they can't find an opportunity to get a headshot on this kill. But with Billings Boomers owning that high ground, finding ways again with the map geometry to take advantage of what they can see. And we're seeing Reckless Sigma trying to push up now with some serious mechanical skill with Calypso with the headshot. And we're seeing some aggressive early fight on the side of Reckless Sigma, being able to take advantage early on. But with Tescu again getting another headshot on the Chrome, now we're seeing Mara repeating it, and Chief changing the momentum of the fight, but it's going to ultimately be a push for Reckless Sigma.
The Sigma were just able to force Boomers off the high ground there, which was crucial. That's where they wanted to play. They have a lot of sight lines from that area, but they were just able to push the cart and force Boomers off that high ground. Now we'll just see, I believe, 2 alive from Sigma here. They're not going to be able to fully take this, and yeah, we're kind of seeing them back up. But Calypso with a big pick on the Poofa here.
Massive pick as we're seeing a headshot on the Poofa, and that's a critical take as we're looking at some seriously low healing potential now on the side of Billings Boomers. I don't know if they're going to be able to live throughout these fights, and with Spectre taking out Bongo, that's an expectation that you'd expect.
Trade!
But the massive trade, and actually an impressive amount of picks with Chief getting the headshot on Calypso, we might be seeing a bit of slowdown on the side of Reckless Sigma, but that's not what we're seeing here, as importantly in Overwatch 2, if you can pick off the tank, you can get some serious map progression. We saw it on the side of Reckless Sigma, where they were able to pick off Poofa. That's the massive healing potential on the side of Billings Boomers. And then finally, Sigma able to take advantage of that, taking out the main tank and pushing forward this map.
It looks winnable with the trade on the Baptistes there. Zen on Zen healing on both sides, but Sigma were just able to hold it. Now we'll see a pretty good amount of ults from both teams here. Pongo throwing out the Flux early and getting just 2 picks. It's crazy.
An
They just
incredible flux.
Yeah, they just win the fight off of that. I mean, it just allows Chief and Mara to get so much poke damage onto the members of Sigma who get picked up. So yeah, just one ult, one fight win.
An incredible amount of coordination from the side of Billings Boomers, with Pongo lifting up the entire Reckless Sigma. Important key critical roles, able to find opportunities for their backline to get some damage on those members, able to finalize the fight there. Importantly, again, Pongo with that aggressive play.
Chief.
Steve finding such an incredible headshot, sneaking in onto Tescu, and Chief again with an incredible headshot onto Calypso. Who can stop Chief as they move forward, finding opportunities with this high ground advantage? Mara picking off Cyrilin, finding opportunities to take advantage of the fact that Reckless Sigma have to move through a massively open area of the map. And with Billings Boomers able to take advantage of this high ground potential, I'm sorry, but I'm seeing a similar situation as what we saw on previous maps.
We're seeing the Widows kind of look down the shield for a lot of this, but what's opening up these fights is the aggression from Chief there on the last fight, and now Calypso just able to look at something that is not a shield, and they kind of open the fight. But it looks like this one, while it might be a little bit scrappy, is going in the favor of the Boomers here, as yeah, they'll clean up the fight.
Calypso able to find the early headshot in that fight, but Billings Boomers able to hold on to that high ground potential. And oh no, we hate to see it, you know, but actually, the Sigma on the side of Billings Boomers getting really dangerous there, trying to pick off Cyrilin on Reckless Sigma, but we're able to finally disengage. And Nerfed, what are your thoughts on the tempo of this match so far?
I mean, it's kind of just at this point looking for the Widow to find a pick, as we see right there. Calypso finds Chief. I kind of just speaking it into existence there. We'll see the trans come out from Olin here, as they'll look to take a little bit more aggressive off that pick on the Widow. And they force Boomers into the third point.
It's incredible. They call it Caster's Curse, but now we're calling it Caster's Sacrament, as Nerf speaks into existence some of the aggressive victories on the side of Reckless Sigma, finding these early picks. Tescu with another important kill, but Chief responding with a headshot. Finally, Spectre moving on Poopa, and Tescu with a kill onto Chrome. We're looking at a serious man advantage on the side of Reckless Sigma, looking to just pick off finally this tank line of Billings Boomers and setting up the fight so that Spectre can just take advantage of it and close out the final kills.
Spectre was looking to brawl there a lot with the Sigma, which was able to just like force the members of Boomers who wanted to move in towards the cart. It just forced them back. The aggression from these tanks is looking like a key part in whether or not the rest of the team is able to kind of take the space they need to control the space and win the fight.
Already we can see Reckless Sigma taking advantage of this high ground. Calypso with another incredible pick, such an important pick, but not without some of the damage from the friendly Sojourn on that one. And what we're seeing here is when Billings Boomers can't get map advantage, you're going to tend to see Reckless Sigma really pressure that mechanical advantage as they move forward on this offense, but taking a bit of a rest here as they look to find some serious map advantage on this far high ground. An incredible headshot.
So close. The sights went down from Calypso, so now the Boomers are able to play a little bit more aggressive now with their own sights, as they know exactly where Sigma want to go. And as they go on the rotation, it's crucial, as now they know exactly what Sigma's plan is. This is just take the high ground and kind of poke at them from there. And we'll see them brawl on the other side of the staircase.
An incredible rotation of the map as we see a lift up from Sigma on Reckless Sigma, finding a kill onto Poopa. Critical. A lot of heals now down from the side of Billings Boomers, but you see Chief respond with a body shot and a headshot, able to really close out that man advantage, with Pongo closing out some of those kills there. I mean, we are seeing an aggressively impressive play from Chief with a rotation around the corner. Chief picking up another one, as if they knew that they were being filmed at that moment. Chief finding opportunities for the highlight reel, really closing out these fights here, Nerfed, at the end of this round.
And here's a swap onto a more of a dive comp from Sigma here, which is interesting. They're running Lucio Zen, which in the past at least has been criticized for being one of the least healing comps in the game. But this is what Sigma is gonna opt for as they run onto the card here.
Sigma looking to move in. Tescu with a kill onto Chief. That's an important critical hit scan off the base. Chrome getting taken down as well. Tescu looking for a third but gets taken down by Mara. But Tescu still with 2 in. But Mara with the headshot on the protagonist. And Mara with a headshot on the Calypso, and it evens the fight. And we're looking at a serious defender's advantage here now as Mara seriously sets the momentum of this fight. Despite having some friendlies taken down early on this fight, able to clutch out this defense and find some critical kills. If that's not a clutch, I don't know what is.
The swap from Chief onto the Reaper here is also just able to pressure the monkey out so nicely. This is a very scrappy fight, but with the respawn advantage here from Boomers, it looks like they will be able to hold before Sigma's able to get the full cap. I say that now, but the Lucio is stalling, and yeah, there will not be another touch here. Oh my gosh, there is! It's like every time I say something, either the opposite or it comes completely to fruition.
Exactly, you have both Caster's Curse as well as Caster's Sacrament. What we saw there from this Billings Boomers team was an ability to respond to this unusual engage from Reckless Sigma, taking that far right high ground, looking to rotate the map in their favor, and unfortunately, with Mara finding opportunities to pressure and finding ways to shut me down with my perspective on the mechanical disadvantage on the side of Billings Boomers, you're able to see Mara finding headshots, finding body shots, able to turn around the momentum of the fight with a pause now coming from the side of Billings Boomers, as it looks like we have a player looking to reconnect to the match. Not totally unusual, not something unsolvable. We'll find an opportunity to get back into this match, but it's an incredible way that this Billings Boomers team has been able to actually shift the momentum despite a map geometry disadvantage. We're seeing the role shift here in this match so far as Mara able to aggressively take some of these headshots on the Sojourn and Widowmaker characters, finding opportunities to shut down Reckless Sigma on these rotations.
Yeah, both teams are playing a lot into their DPS. They're pumping a lot of resources into the DPS and just hoping for picks. And it's working out, but at this point in time, I think it's working out a little bit better for the Boomers. Chief just came up so clutch with the amount of picks he got on the Widow. And then swapping their DPS line over to the Reaper at the end. They were just able to counter all the swaps we saw from Sigma. And while I don't necessarily agree with the entire comp, I feel like if you're gonna swap, you kind of have to go all the way. It is interesting to see that Sigma Boomers rather, were able to just keep the notice the swaps and put some of their own in to control the fight still.
It's so critical to see, though, on this map, that second point is not an easy one to take, right? You have a massive amount of open space that can be capitalized upon. I mean, you have literally a road that's at a 45-degree angle, which gives you massive high ground potential on that second point. So I understand that we didn't see a full cap on the side of Reckless Sigma. At the same time, how often do you see full caps on this map anyways?
No, not
They
not
push
that
the cart
frequently.
incredibly far, exactly. And so this is not a sold, signed, and sealed deal here for Reckless Sigma. They have a huge opportunity to hold the map even at point 2, and I have a feeling this is going to come down to a few meters on point 3 here for Billings Boomers pushing this offense.
Yeah, definitely not. We'll see some of the. Oh, I thought it was gonna be just a Chief highlight reel, but no. We're seeing a lot of just. Well, there it is. There's the Chief highlight reel. But I think what's a very big difference between these teams is the amount of space that they're able to create for their Widows. I mean, it's very difficult with just like kind of looking down the eye of a shield when you're on the low ground. But what we see is Spectre able to just like push up and kind of take the space that they need to open up a sightline for Calypso, and it's the same with Pongo for Chief. And I think that was very crucial when we saw the Widow Mirror in just terms of opening up the space for the Widowmakers to kind of control the fight.
One of the things that I'm noticing about this match right now is that the survival of what you might call a, I don't really know, flex support, main support, what do you call it? But the primary healer in Overwatch 2, that which is able to put out the most healing per second on these teams, has been a critical role. Which team does Poofa go down first, you know? Or is it someone else? That's been a critical decider of these fights because, as you can see clearly from some of these engages, these supports are able to bail out their tanks in critical moments, providing immense value in the mid fight and the late fight unless they're picked off early. So the question really is, do we see some of these primarily healing potential and healing resource characters getting picked off early on? I think that's going to sell a very important story when it comes to the success of these teams. Yes, we're seeing the DPS square up against one another and look for pick potential and opportunities. But at the end of the day, what I'm finding is even if a DPS picks off another DPS, as long as the support line is still active on the team that's lost a member, there's a lot of opportunity to rotate that fight's momentum back in the favor of the team with a down character. So I think these matches are really, and these rounds rather, are really decided by the uptime of these supports, able to support this tank line that is very, very equal, I think, between these two teams.
Yeah, Poof is back in now, so we will be able to start the second round of this map. Great timing that it was as soon as the round ended and not in between where they have to pause the fight and lose the ult charge, whatever. But it'll be interesting to see now whether or not Boomers are able to outdo what Sigma did on their attack, because that, I mean, like you said, it's not every single time that we see the full cap come through on circuit. So whether or not Boomers are able to match what Sigma did here, will be very key to see here.
It's interesting as, you know, on defense, you typically get to choose how you take advantage of map advantage. And so it'll be interesting to see whether Reckless Sigma can do that here. Again, we're looking at Calypso, finding opportunities, see along those long sight lines. Excuse me, while Chief doing the same on this offense. Finding opportunities to look for those headshots. Where can I see him? With the launch up in the air, but no luck on the shot. But Cyrilin finding Mara. That's an incredible pick early on, but it's a DPS. But we're seeing Poofa going down. That's going to be an incredible pick now. And this fight is already over in the favor of Reckless Sigma.
I don't think so. Pongo has something to say about that, and it is no. Pongo finding 2 picks at the end of what it looked like should have been the end of the fight. But no, those 2 picks are key in opening up the point now for what looks like Boomer's able to get at least most of the way to the capture point.
Evidence in the favor of Overwatch 2 being a game where, you know, you can turn fights. There aren't as many defensive capabilities to be able to keep fights going. But as we're developing into this fight, we can see that high ground advantage already. Reckless Sigma dropping down with their Sigma onto the low ground, not taking advantage of the high ground potential. A very different situation than what we saw in the previous defense. We're seeing Reckless Sigma moving forward onto the point, trying to take advantage of the map space rather than the map high ground potential. We're seeing both immortality fields dropping now, and Calypso with an incredible shot on Mara. Tescu with a headshot, Calypso with another headshot. We're seeing these DPS just absolutely own the lobby here, and that's going to spell success for this Reckless Sigma roster.
Yeah, there it is. I was honestly expecting that fight to kind of go in the direction of the Boomers. It looked like they had a lot more appeal onto Pongo than Olin and Protagonist were able to provide for Spectre. But in the end, the grasp from Spectre, they're just able to kind of take a second and chill, and the peel comes out, as well as a lamp, so that they're just able to hold onto the cart there while Calypso just gets the picks they need.
Look how aggressive they're playing on this corner, dropping the window, looking to press their advantage. Again, Reckless Sigma setting the momentum shift really early on with some ultimate expenditure, but is that going to play in their favor as now they're on the back foot, looking to reverse, getting pressured, now on a longer sight line with this ultimate, but with the Sigma lifting up the team in response. Spectre taking out Pongo with the drop with some help from their Sojourn with some damage, and Calypso with the headshot onto Chief. We're seeing another fight going the way of Reckless Sigma here on this defense.
Calypso just ends the fight with 2, to be expected, I think, at this point. But I think what's crucial about that fight is the fact that Boomers dumped 3 ults, Sigma dumped 3 ults as well, but they hold onto the Trance, which Boomers ended up using there. So they do now have a tool to be able to weather not only the overclock, but the flux as well, as Olin will just get an opening pick onto Zephyr as well, and kind of force Boomers back into their spawn.
It feels like Boomers are looking to try to set up their fights for, say, for example, 10 seconds. They're looking to get a setup on a fight. In that time, Reckless Sigma is finding opportunities to take advantage of their rotations and punish them with the mechanical skill that they're already have been showing throughout this series. And now we're seeing, again, with a 5v4 situation, Reckless Sigma shutting down the previous fight, but we're getting back into the next one. Now, we're seeing Sigma moving up on the side of Billings Boomers, but the massive rock shutting down Billings Boomers. Their aggression is now being pressured. Pongo taking out Spectre, finding opportunity to move forward on this offense. Very low Calypso looking to grapple out of that situation, able to find their way out. Mara on Billings Boomers looking for opportunities to laser some down, and with some help from Pongo, able to take down 2. Mara now with 2, Pongo with 1. Looking Mara with 3 now, pushing forward, taking this aggressive positioning. Perhaps a ill-advised positioning, but when you're on the hype train, you just have to keep riding it. And now we're seeing Chief taking an aggressive angle here on this high ground. And finally, we're seeing Billings Boomers able to move on this high ground.
And while it might have been messy, Boomers do cap in overtime, so they will get to live to fight another fight. And I mean, they just, once Spectre is down, they just don't have any cart pressure. Sigma do, and it's just a fight loss from there. Their members get staggered, and now we'll see an even fight. Looking for both these teams to find an opening pick, and there it is on Pongo.
Wow, Tescu with the incredible headshot right over that little situation. On to Pongo, Tescu with another on Poofa. And finally, with the team support, we're looking at a total wipe here from the side of Reckless Sigma. And this is a very difficult location to be aggressing against, as Reckless Sigma effectively positioned on this high ground. Now, you might argue, forced to be on this high ground with Calypso with the headshot. It's almost like map control and map advantage. You don't really need to have a brain at this point. You can just stand up there and hold it. And guess what? Reckless Sigma, even if they don't have a brain in this situation, they're going to be able to actualize their advantage mechanically on this high ground.
I want to point out, though, that Boomers have opted to swap Mara onto the Hanzo. The Sojourn has been a key part of Overwatch 2 ever since she got her buff. Making it so her not overclock, but the railgun is easier to hit. But it's working out for them.
Mara coming in with the incredible headshot early on, and then she finalizing it with another headshot. This DPS line really shifting the momentum, pushing up this high ground, finding opportunities to get some space. Finally, Billings Boomers looking at a Transcendence, ready to heal through any advantage that they get. Mara with another kill with the Sonic Arrow, but
oh my Calypso
responding with a double headshot, able to turn the momentum back in the favor of Reckless Sigma. Pongo finally finding a kill onto the Zenyatta, but it's not enough. There's not enough man advantage, as this defensive advantage comes in clutch when you're on this high ground.
The amount of fights that just the DPS alone have been able to dictate here. Mara will be on the Tracer now, looking to stagger the stalls, but it does. Oh my gosh, Chief gets the headshot. I was gonna say that it looks like it's over, but maybe not with that pick.
Protagonist able to take out Chief. It's very critical. An incredible headshot from Calypso. Spectre able to drop down the Zenyatta, rather, be able to get that kill. Finalizing it, Spectre moving in aggressively, taking space, finding opportunities, getting behind this Winston composition as they're able to knock down the overtime, and it's a close of the map with Reckless Sigma. Able to take advantage of that mechanical skill. Pickoffs early on in some of these fights. Taking some of these fights early on, looking at some corners that you might not normally expect, but able to actualize them when it matters. And once they're on that high ground, forced into it, that mechanical skill just frankly lives out in these fights. But Mara with some incredible gameplay here, as we can see with a body shot and double headshot play of the game. You can see Billings Boomers not totally out of it, with a lot of mechanical skill on their side as well, just looking to try to shift that momentum. Will Reckless Sigma's aggression continue to pay out, or are Billings Boomers going to be able to turn the momentum around in their favor by capitalizing on some of those unusual situations that Reckless Sigma find themselves in? So far, so good. We'll see. Reckless Sigma up 2-1 in this.
Yeah, and so far it's just been the teams taking the maps that they've picked. So it will be interesting to see what we're going to on push. But unfortunately, we will be going to another 2-minute break as we swap up some things on the OBS side of things. So yeah, stay tuned. We will be back in a second.
Be back in a minute, folks. All right, Tranquility viewers, you are watching Season 9 play-ins. That's, again, Transcendence tier. These are your highest-rated teams squaring up to see who will make it to the playoffs. Today, the Billings Boomers are, again, taking on the Reckless Sigma in a battle of wit, coordination, and gameplay mechanics. My name is Jonesy, and, again, I am your host with my good friend Nerfed. We're looking at getting back into this match as we're looking at a fourth map now, with our Billings Boomers looking to turn around the momentum of this match against Reckless Sigma. Nerfed, any thoughts on this fight so far?
Well, no fight yet. However, Esperanza is one of the most interesting maps as it is the newest, and I think that a lot of teams have a lot to learn for this map. However, we've seen it get picked a lot. So I mean, it seems like a lot of teams have a good grasp already on how to run this.
Looking good so far. Again, we're looking at right now two teams that are semi-mirroring. Okay, it looks like now they're almost mirroring each other. We're seeing some Zarya composition coming in, the DPS line being the same, but a difference in the Kiriko versus the Baptiste. And we'll look to see whether or not the Kiriko can find those opportunities to look for some picks on this fight. Jumping into the fight, we're looking at some map, looking at the center of this map here, rotating around the center column, finding opportunities to jump in here. We're seeing some aggression from the side of Calypso, Astro, and Tescu, pushing some space here as they're jumping into the fight, finding opportunities to take some map advantage and get some damage potential on here. But with Astro getting a kill on Tomorrow early on, this is such a critical kill as we're looking at a lot of damage potential drop off. Astro getting another one onto Chief with some help from others from their team. And we're looking at this Astro tank line with Protagonist and their DPS line pushing forward, taking some serious map advantage early on in this fight.
It was so good seeing them just kind of flip the map. They were not afraid to give up a couple meters on the bot if it meant that they would win the fight. And that's kind of a trend we've seen in general for Overwatch 2, is a lot of teams are less focused on the objective, unless it's like final fight territory, and more focused on winning the fight, because they can hold on to the objective if they win the fight.
And already we're looking at some serious aggression coming from the red side in Tescu, finding a kill on Ponko. We're looking at an opportunity again. Also, an immortality field taking down on the side of the blue. And we're looking at Astro getting another kill. Again, Tescu with a kill onto Chief. We're looking at some serious kills here coming in from an opportunity to shift this momentum. It looks like we're seeing some serious bot progression on the side of our red team here, looking to make some pushes. Already taking advantage of the map here, Nerfed.
They'll just take the point. I mean, it's been all red in the kill feed so far. But it looks like now Sigma are, well, they're not giving up. They look to back up a little bit there, but they just run straight back onto the bot. Mara will get the pick onto Olin, and it looks like they will back up now, down their main healing. But, you know, they an instant cap pretty much with just 2 fights to take it.
Look at this gravitation here, looking to pull in the players here. Pondo with a kill though onto Tescu, but Calypso with such a critical headshot. Finding some momentum here, pushing it forward, looking for another headshot as they move forward. Chrome though, Chrome finding 2 kills onto Protagonist and Calypso. Chrome then with a 3rd onto Astro. And this blue team, you're going to be able to push very effectively, finding some space here as the bot is moving quickly through this map.
Yeah, Sigma did get the first cap there, but they were very good at just backing up, giving the fight up to Sigma, and then Boomers re-engage.
It looks like now we have Billings Boomers setting up from the low ground, interestingly enough, as they're moving this cart, looking for an opportunity to peel as they're getting some serious aggression from Reckless Sigma on this Reaper. But Calypso able to find a body shot and a headshot, getting 2 kills early on, with Astro following it up on a kill on Mara. And finally, we are able to see some serious momentum shift coming through on the side of Reckless, finally able to turn this fight and looking to press their advantage as we see some cart advantage already on the side of Reckless, and we're seeing a pause now coming from this match.
So yeah, another pause. Interesting. We'll have to see what this one's about. But yeah, what we saw a lot in the beginning of the series was it was going back and forth. Like, the fights were very scrappy. There were like 8 to 9 picks a fight, and it would just come down to the final member. But here, it's all Sigma. Besides that one fight that they ended up losing, Sigma have just had full control of the map here.
So far, so good. I mean, it looks like this is a map that tends to, play a little bit more equally. When it comes to map advantage, it's challenging to set up map advantage here, as the best you can do is push the bot beyond the point at which you can start to get that high ground advantage. But even once you're there, you're already looking now at a corner that doesn't present a lot of opportunities for map pick-off advantage, and that's where we've seen Reckless already taking advantage of those equal fights. Whenever they're able to fight a corner, Reckless are tending to win these just off of some early pick-off potential on the side of Calypso and Tescu. So definitely looking forward to see whether Billings Boomers can start to shift the momentum using this map geometry or not, as we're setting up for a map that tends to like to play these long sightlines more than others.
Yeah, so unfortunately, a little bit of a ping issue on the side of Sigma. One of their players is having an immense ping, but it should be all fixed, and I believe soon we should be going back in. But before we do, I just want to like kind of throw this out there that push is one of the most back and forth game modes that we have, if not the most. So while we've already seen a cap and what's looking like more percentage coming out from Sigma, Boomers definitely not out of it. I mean, only 4 minutes in, there's a very strong chance that they end up also getting the cap very soon.
Agreed, and it looks like we're ending the pause here. And notice, by the way, too, that we're now seeing a perfect mirror where Kiriko was formerly the difference in that metagame early on. Now we're seeing the Baptiste being played from both sides, and it looks like we're seeing Reckless coming out with the Reaper on an aggressive flank that then gets shut down, but they're still moving along this cart here, as we're seeing Mara, Poofa, and Mara again with some incredible pickoffs early on, committing some ultimates, namely Death Blossom, to shift the momentum back in the favor of Billings Boomers, moving this cart now, looking to see if we can't actualize and equalize this map potential, as we're seeing again still Reckless showing an advantage so far in overall cap percentage.
Reckless will get the early spawns, so they will have another fight here before even the bot touches the, well, I say that, but the bot did touch the marker. But they will get another fight right here. So Boomers not necessarily getting that much distance, especially with the Blossom coming out from Tescu, just getting so much damage onto the rest of the team, as Zerg and Calypso are able to kind of clean up.
Tescu, again, taking advantage of that high ground, jumping down, pressing Q, using their ultimate, finding an opportunity to get some serious damage early on. And even if we don't see all of those in the kill feed, you'll find that the rest of the team can capitalize on that. So we are seeing Reckless able to push that advantage. And we're squaring up on this corner now with a huge gravitational surge from Reckless, able to pull in the Zarya and the Lucio and capitalizing on both of those kills, as Mara just tries to hold off, but Mara falling, and finally the Lucio looking to finally make their way out, but it looks like Baptiste is going to be taken down as well. Sojourn able to get out of the fight, but let's see how much movement we can see on the side of Reckless. Are they going to be able to push this thing into our next cap point or not? That's the big question here.
The lamp was almost enough to save them in the grab, but just unfortunately came short. And Sigma did win the fight, however, an early pick on the Tescu, as well as the window thrown in. Calypso will be able to stall it out a little bit with the overclock. You get the pick on the Pongo, but they will be backing up and kind of giving up some space to Boomers.
Poofa with a critical kill early on, but then Calypso able to then respond with that ultimate, able to get some serious damage onto the Zarya and finally pick the Zarya off. That's such a critical pick off. As we're looking at map progression, if your tank is up, you can move this bot. If your tank isn't up, you're going to struggle. And finally, with Pongo back into the fight, we're able to see a more stalemate option here as they're looking to see what angle are we going to play at here. With Mara taking down Tescu, a very critical pickoff early on. That's a lot of damage potential down now on the side of Reckless. And again, Mara on Astro, that's more damage potential down. And it looks like Billings Boomers are going to be able to move this bot now with a number of key pickoffs, able to then drop that ultimate advantage now in their favor as they slowly pick off some of the last members of Reckless.
Yeah, Calypso dies there very late, and what looked like it could have been another early recontest from Sigma there. Unfortunately, with that pick, it looks like they're going to just wait. They will be able to get the touch before there's too much meterage, but definitely not as ideal. The early grab here is crazy, but the beat from Protagonist is just able to deny so much of the damage. Mara with the Blossom there will clean up Zerg, and it looks like this could be Boomer's cap.
Some great communication on Billings Boomers with their Sojourn holding their ultimate. Chief holding on to that ultimate. Now, look, if I'm seeing that and I'm in quick play, you can bet I'm pressing Q. But that's because I don't have the coordination that Billings Boomers have on this team, able to hold off on some of those aggressive plays, save ultimates for the next fight, and somehow Billings Boomers still with the ultimate advantage here, going into the next fight.
an early grab, but what we will see is Kufa's able to just throw the beat in. Tescu will have the... Oh! What a big pick from Calypso on the Chief. The overclock here is just so big. And yeah, there we see the Blossom is just able to clean up everybody else who's remaining. It's scrappy, but it looks like this is going in favor of Sigma, and yeah, there it is.
You love to see it. I mean, you see a team that looks, they go for the grab, they hit it, they grab a lot of members in it, they see the beat come through. Guess what they do? Disengage. Let's go back into the map geometry, rotate around that area where we have that side point, then take it, rush it down main now that the beat is done, and they're able to push in now with an advantage. That's a lot of aggressive mid-fight planning coming from Reckless, able to react to that incredible timing on that beat, and finally win the fight. Now we're seeing just a scrappy, pokey fight here coming in, but with the a flip of the map going on here, and the window committed from Reckless, looking to rotate the momentum here, getting some serious damage in, and Tescu able to pick off Chrome, and it looks like we're going to see an impressive amount of kills now coming from Reckless. Calypso able to take out a Chief, Tescu with Pongo, and we're looking at moving this momentum even further throughout this point. So although we saw some late fight movement in that bot, now we're seeing Reckless rotating the map again with this bot, moving quickly. Look at him, he's jogging. He's Christopher jogging, as they'd say, with one member only on the map.
They're just so good at isolating targets. They're just like, hey, you can have the bot, you can take some meterage, we have the lead, we're just gonna isolate your Lucio. We're gonna get the pick and we're gonna win the fight. And that's exactly what is working out for Sigma so well here. As we see the grab coming out from Boomers.
Committing this grab on the single target and getting that pick off. You just love that. You love to see it. The solo ult as it shifts the momentum in your favor. It's an aggressive play. It's a play I love to see. Looks like Cyrilin able to just hang on there for a second and take the L as they're looking to get that reset. An impressive momentum shift from Billing Boomers. Pongo looking at ulting the wall to hold that tank. Pongo knows how important taking out that Zarya is. But as I'm looking at these ultimates, although you can see Mara with the ultimate on the Death Blossom, you're seeing Astra with a soon-to-be grab and a soon-to-be beat from Protagonist. This is going to be a really close fight, Nerf.
As well as the overclock from Calypso, which has just been like immense every single one of these fights. It looks like Boomers are going to get an early pick onto the Zarya. And there it is on the Lucio as well. Chief will go down, but it looks like the rest of Boomers are able to stabilize with the beat and just keep the control of this fight, as there's only 8 meters left remaining between them and the lead.
We're going into overtime. We need to have folks on the blue team on this cart right now. Otherwise, we're going to end the round with the defensive respawn advantage coming in with the Monkey coming in on a fast touch. And it looks like they now have man advantage. The Reckless Reds coming in, looking to see if they can close out some of these kills. Some of the early picks off on in the previous fight are going to help them along with that fight. And now, the ultimates, there's none on either side. It's all about individual mechanical skill, looking to see if they can focus down targets. The Monkey looking really low. Astro trying to just dance around the point.
With the
An incredible grab. Billings Boomers looking to take advantage of this early ultimate in order to push this cart the final last few meters. And it looks like Billings Boomers have done it. They've pushed the cart the last few meters with some seriously coming back from a deficit early on in the map. Billings Boomers able to collect themselves, look at the map, say, what do we have? What are our available ultimates? And finding opportunities to get important pickoffs on some critical targets there in the early fight. And we're able to then push forward, and finally, Billings Boomers showing that they're able to equalize this. And if I'm not mistaken, we're at 2-2 here, Nerfed.
Okay, we're going all the way. I mean, we started off by saying that these two teams are very close, kind of in very similar positions at the moment, and that's definitely coming to fruition with us going into 5. That was such a close fight at the end there, but unfortunately, Sigma was just not able to get the target focus they needed to clean up some very low targets. There was like 3 people who were at critical health. And unfortunately, they just weren't able to clean up any one of them because the fight is just so, like, I mean, I think we've all been there, where it's just like a final fight in overtime, very close to losing or winning the lead, and you're all over the place. The team that gets more coordinated will be the one that wins, and right there, it looked like it was the Boomers.
this fight and these matches absolutely flipping my expectation. You're seeing actually a lot of understanding of the map and the advantageous positioning coming from our reckless team here, while Billings Boomers showing that they're able to just engage on that low ground, able to engage at that close short-term interaction, and able to take those fights regardless of lacking map advantage in some of these offensive positions, able to take the fights anyway. So these are seriously closely matched up teams. This is an incredible match already unfolding. Both teams showing their strengths in every facet of Overwatch. This is why we love to watch Overwatch. It's a mix of a lot of different skills. Looking forward to seeing how these teams continue to develop them in our final round at a 2-2 situation here between Billings Boomers and Reckless Sigma.
Yeah, it's been such a back and forth affair the entire way. Every single map has been so close, just down to the wire. I think the time that we saw like the most of a lead was Billings Boomers on Midtown, but the rest of the series, it's just been back and forth. Every single fight is so close. Every single map is down to the wire. And as we head into Nepal, which is our final map, I'm hoping to see more of the same, personally.
Totally agreed. I don't personally have any particular obsession with one team or another in this match. I just love to see great Overwatch, and we're getting it here tonight as we're watching an overtime cap on a push map, setting us up for the tiebreaker on a control. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this, Nerfed. I'm very excited to see as we're looking again at two teams. Again, Billings Boomers with some momentum going into this match. Reckless Sigma showing an impressive early season record. Both teams looking to solidify their way into making it further through this bracket with this match here tonight.
We will be taking a tiny bit of a break. So we just got to stall it a little bit as we wait for the members of the Boomers to get back into the lobby. I think we're getting some PC resets maybe. But yeah, Billings Boomers did call for a pause. So we will be waiting for the time being. All right, Jonesy, we have talked so much about the DPS, and we've talked a lot about the tanks as well. But as I've been saying, these supports are also doing very well. I think that the support is kind of the most unsung role in Overwatch 2 specifically. And I think we've seen specifically Zephyr and Olin have put so much work in to just like being able to turn the fights with their peel. So yeah, it's been great to see the amount of support coming out from both of these teams. Whereas like the DPS might be the more flashy role, the supports are definitely putting in a lot of work as well.
And not only that, but you're seeing a lot of the momentum of these fights being decided by those BAP windows. That's often where you see map advantage simply taken by, hey, we've got a window where we have damage potential that's so much greater than yours. You have to respect this space. Those windows being placed on those key critical corner points have been a massive part of the progression, especially the offense of both of these teams. You see those coming out early on in the fights, and sure, you might see the kill feed, but guess what? The kill feed happened through that Baptiste window, and that's such a critical piece of these fights, right, as we're looking at them. Furthermore, you can see, although you may see a team ultimately win out a fight, they have to take 5 to 10 seconds just to disengage from fights in order to counter a Lucio beat that comes at the perfect time. So we're seeing a lot of really impressive support play that's completely changing the momentum and tempo of these fights.
I think the most interesting part of the metagame, for me at least in this series, has been Boomers mirroring what Sigma's doing. Sigma started off with the Zarya comp, and on Oasis we did end up seeing Boomers swap towards that to mirror, and it worked out a little bit. But when that's not what you're practicing, it's definitely favoring Sigma. And something we've seen throughout the rest of the maps as well is in the times where we play the Zarya, Boomers were still opting to play the Kiriko. But with Sigma running the map and it working out very well for them, we've seen slowly but surely Boomers opt just to now pick the map immediately out of spawn.
And now we're seeing here on Nepal Shrine, teams coming out very fast with that Lucio speed boost, looking to take advantage of the map, getting that high ground potential. Looks like it's going in the favor of our blue team here, looking to take advantage of that high ground, and now we're pressuring them from this ability to hold that corner, get some damage across it. I mean, at this point, it's blue that's looking to hold this map.
Yeah, I mean, Zerg blew both bubbles almost immediately into the fight. So now Sigma aren't able to hold on to the point. They have to give it up. They aren't able to brawl as easily as Pongo's bubble management has been superior and so far in this round. Also with an early pick on the Chief and Tescu killing their mirror as well. So it looks like we will see Sigma opening up this point.
An incredible shift of momentum as we're looking at Reckless pushing in, aggressing on that corner, finding their opportunity. And I think, to me, that's just an opportunity right there. You can see the coordination and the wit coming from Reckless, able to say, let's push in right now, let's target prioritize, because we know that a pick off in Overwatch 2 often means the fight. But moving into this next fight, what are we seeing? We're seeing a window on the side of Billings Boomers. We're seeing another window on the side of Reckless. Reckless committing it earlier. Now it's matched. We're looking at a window-to-window opportunity here.
Calypso.
Who's gonna hit the shot? Calypso with the shot onto Poofa. Chief with the kill onto Calypso. Finally, Cyrilin with the shot onto Mara. That means that we have this blue team, Billings, looking to press their advantage, but with a number of pickoffs on the side of Reckless, it looks like we're gonna see this momentum continue to favor Reckless on this point.
They threw so much into that though. They started with the window, mirrored from both, then both teams mirrored the grav. But what we saw throughout that was Protagonist had the B first and used that to counter the grav. And Calypso opened the fight up with a overclock. So now Boomers are coming in here with two ults that Sigma don't have anymore.
That's right, and Boomers looking to take advantage of that. Both Calypso getting the important kill on Poopa. We talked about this before. Getting kills on the support line often spells the nature of the fight. Let's see if Boomers can maintain their advantage on this map point while they're down a support. And it looks like with Chrome getting taken down, it's just a matter of time here as we're seeing the heals are no longer in for Billings Boomers. And
Wow.
Reckless taking advantage of these kills. Tescu with a couple of important frags here. And we're seeing the continuation of Reckless maintaining this map advantage here on Nepal Shrine.
They're so willing to just give up the objective, and it's paid off for them the entire series. It's paid dividends. They just the willingness to give up the point, to dump ults, do whatever you can to win the fight, not the objective. It has just played off so well for Sigma here, as they're just able to win every single fight they need to.
A massive Death Blossom, obviously countered by the Immortality Field, turned around with Mara getting a kill. Poopa and Chief also finding themselves in this fight. Billings Boomers able to, when it matters, at that 93% cap rate from Reckless. Billings Boomers able to push past that aggressive early Death Blossom and able to say, no, we are going to take advantage of this fight on our terms. Let us show you how we're going to make this happen. And able to capitalize on that now while we're seeing Reckless pushing in from this right side. Some coming from high ground, some coming from low ground. Let's see what they can do as they push in on this point.
Oh, the grab early. I'm so excited to see here what Calypso is able to do with the overclock. Unfortunately, no picks yet, and there it is. Zerg, both Zaryas actually will go down, and there goes Olin as well, as it looks like Boomers with the more support will be able to hold on to the point for now. And this is actually final fight territory. The Sigma have to reset very quickly to be able to get another fight going, as Protagonist throws in the beat.
Critical beat as we're seeing this Lucio Reaper looking to get some advantage here, but Chief getting the critical
Oh
2
gosh.
kills on the only remaining members. Others coming in now from Reckless, but Chief just owning the lobby here. Let's see another laser if we can.
Zerg.
Give us another one, we need it. And there it is, another kill then coming from with help from the team on the side of Billings Boomers, able to flip the momentum of this match. Despite some serious momentum early on coming in from Reckless, we're able to see Billings Boomers take a breather, consider some of their critical key targets, and start to shift that momentum through taking the momentum of the match in their own hands. We saw some ignoring of some of the aggression from Reckless, pushing through to the back line, pushing through to the key targets. That's what Billings Boomers are bringing out here on this final map, and I think that's so critical for them as they find a way to counter that aggressive playstyle from Reckless and find their niche here in this match as they continue to move forward, looking to see if they can continue some of that strategy on a map that really tends to favor map holding points and high ground advantage.
It was so upsetting there if you're Sigma. Just like, you lose the fight, and then you don't really have enough time to reset and get another fight going, so you kind of have to stagger yourselves in. It's just not a recipe for success. We'll see both teams run towards the bridge here to start off Sanctum. But yeah, just an unfortunate way to end the last round.
Absolutely. Reckless Sigma able to take the critical map advantage onto this point here. It's important to see that they now have that health pack behind them, with Billings Boomers looking to find a pickoff, finding it with Mara onto Tescu. That's such a critical pickoff. They should be able to just move through this space now. We've got man advantage. Show us who has the map now. And you can see easily Reckless backing up onto the farther back high ground, looking to recollect with that 5-man team. But Billings Boomers looking to hold this door. They're playing very aggressively. The Zarya at very high charge from both teams here, looking to see if they can make some serious differences here in this offense.
Have looked their best is when they're at a disadvantage, being able to disengage and take another fight. As we'll see here, now they're going to re-engage. The window does get popped early from Zephyr, so they just bait and ult, and they're just willing to give it up.
Billings Boomers playing very smart here, not pushing too far forward, able to use the grab to pull a few members of the team. Protagonist getting taken down. That's a critical pick, and the Sojourn trying to push in from Reckless Sigma. Making an important distraction as Tescu pushes in, getting a 3K with Astro on the front. Astro getting another one. That's 3 for Tescu, 2 for Astro, while the Sojourn plays the role of the Joker, just looking at from the side saying, hey, take a look at me. Guess what? Billings Boomers tend to turn around, focus a little bit too much on that, and don't realize the momentum shift that's taking place on the other side of the map. But this map is 51 to maybe 15% here. So Reckless, still a lot of ways to go to start winning this map.
Yeah, but now it looks like the Boomers will have to find another way to open. Oh, but Mara will Ajax the Blossom rather. It's just every single time that they need him to. Calypso is coming up clutch. And here with the overclock, we'll see they're able to clean up some of the staggers. Calypso as well, I want to talk about in the last fight. Like, the entire time it looked like Boomers had an advantage. They popped the grab, they popped the window and whatever. And they had a man advantage. But Calypso was providing so much pressure on the other side of the objective that they just had to go and deal with him.
And now we can see Tescu getting bubbled, committing the Death Blossom, taking out the Immortality field early on. That's really important tech there, with Chief able to capitalize on it. Taking out Tescu there, finding their way from the side here. Chrome able to find a kill on the main healer here. So we're looking at Mara finally able to take out the tank. It's just a natural progression here. Whenever you take out that Baptiste, you're gonna have a bad time on the other team. So it looks like we're seeing a very quick momentum shift in the way of Billings Boomers. That being said, we're at 63% against a 66%. This is a very close back and forth map here, Nerf. I just can't get over how good of Overwatch we're seeing.
Yeah, but the big difference here is the beat from Protagonist, as they will, almost got Ajax there, but they will be able to throw it out and save their team. But unfortunately, it doesn't amount to anything, as the Boomers are just willing to run it down onto the team, clear the beat charge, the overhealth, and win the fight.
Such an incredible sense of pacing coming from Billings Boomers, able to react calmly to a lot of ultimates being pushed their way. But we have Reckless pushing in with the Baptiste ultimate. Very important window there to
They will-
improve their damage potential.
Oh,
Protagonist
no,
with the move
sir.
onto Pongo, and Astro with the kill onto Chief. Astro jumping off the map themselves, chromed with the headshot onto Tescu, and Calypso with the kill onto Mara. We're seeing an immortality field dropped here from Reckless. Reckless able to cap the point though, with 2 on point, 1 on the flank. Looks like Billings Boomer is going to look to reset here. Nerfed, what the heck just happened?
Poor Zerg, man. He just fell off the map trying to get the contest going. Sigma will end up winning that fight. And Zerg will make it back for the next one, but that's just so funny to watch.
It's always fun to see on this map, as there is a lot of opportunity to be jumping off the map yourself with this Lucio flying around, skating around looking for some groups. It looks like we're seeing Mara pushing in aggressively with a bubble, but then phantoming out of the fight, looking for an opportunity to take advantage of this. The Lucio in the side room. There's a lot of aggression here. Chief with the kill onto Calypso is a critical sense. Chief with another kill onto Cerulean. It's an incredible play from the far ground here. Looking to get some more kills here as Chief again gets another Chief with 3 in this fight. Able to take advantage of the far high ground potential and finally able to close out this map here for a Billings Boomers win.
What a close series, and at the end it was, you know, just playing into the pattern we saw the rest of the series. They just rely on Chief to get the clutch kills they needed. Same here with Mara and this Blossom. It really was just like DPS kind of leading their team to success throughout most of this series. That's how Overwatch plays, is it plays a lot more towards the DPS. But they did such a good job at being able to control the fights and control the tempo for each of their respective teams.
Totally agreed. And on that same note, it's important to recognize how the team sets up the damage players for their ability to take advantage of the fight. I mean, even in that final fight, we saw as soon as you win the off angle, as soon as you have a DPS that's able to take advantage of a high ground potential and rain damage down from a critical vantage point, you can win fights easily. But how do you do that? You do that with the understanding of how important it is there are certain sections of the map that you capture as a team, and it comes from key value moments coming from your support line. So you have a mix of space and healing that set up your DPS for the opportunity to shift the momentum of the fight in your direction. And throughout these fights, you can see Billings Boomers able to effectively take advantage of the map in order to take the victory in some of these fights at the time when it matters most. Don't get me wrong, Reckless Sigma had an incredible series with some incredible plays throughout. You saw plays from all members of the team. I wouldn't say in a series this close that there was any massive problem with either team.
No.
There were just individual mechanical plays that tended to win out slightly in certain situations, with a mix of plans going into the fights that set up the fight for a momentum that is really challenging to play up against if you don't know how to adapt as the fights play out. I think Billings Boomers, you can tell, came in very, very prepared for this fight and came in with some plans that they executed effectively, and sure enough, they came up with the W.
What's so interesting is I honestly think Sigma played that map better. The disengagements, the willingness to just kind of give up the fight when they needed to dump ults when they needed to, etc., etc. I was very impressed with how they played that Nepal map. But unfortunately, it just comes down to the mechanics in the end, as we've been talking about so much this series. It ends up just coming down to Mara and Chief just getting the kills that they needed to get. And, you know, as we talk about our player of the match, Jonesy, I think it would just kind of be ridiculous to give it to anybody not named Chief, personally. But, yeah.
You know, I don't disagree necessarily. I think Chief had an incredible match, finding opportunities to shift the momentum when it mattered most. At the same time, you have to ask the question, who was setting up those engages and who was shifting the momentum early on in the fights? I'm going to have to put it in the hands of Pongo. Pongo found opportunities to find solo ultimate kills on the enemy team's front line that set up Billings Boomers for some critical momentum shifts. We saw that in their push map. An opportunity for Pongo to show their understanding of how to navigate the map in order to set up Chloe Chief for those opportunities for some serious pickoffs. I'm going to have to give it to the big brain potential from Pongo in being able to execute on the coaching staff's recommendations to win these fights.
Yeah, Boomers definitely relied a lot on Pongo as well. Just such a good Zarya player. And they definitely have some things to look forward to if you're a Boomers fan. Because they did look like they had a pretty good grasp on the Monkey comp, which they started the series with. Unfortunately, the Zarya right now is just still better, but next week you can't play her. Her bubble nerf is so sizable, it's so immense, that I think that we're going to see most teams having to swap towards the Monkey comp or something else that we haven't seen yet. So I'm definitely looking for a run here for the Boomers. Definitely a lot of signs of life coming out from them, as that we talked about it at the beginning. But the momentum is keeping on going for the Boomers.
Totally agreed. Well, Tranquility viewers, if I'm not mistaken, this is our closing arguments for the match. It's been an incredible match here with a very close 3-2 series in the favor of Billings Boomers, going to be moving on in our bracket. Looking forward to these future matches as this Transcendence tier continues to heat up, closing out the season. Thank you for viewing this evening. It's been an absolute riot with myself, Jonesy, again. Relatively Phil again. I'm relatively new, so pop some love in the chat if you've enjoyed this here cast with my good friend Nerf, who has plenty of experience and has guided me through this whole journey here, along with our production team in the form of Lagison and Finn. Thank you so much to everyone on the team. And thank you to all of us viewers and those behind the scenes supporting the Tranquility community at large. It's been an absolute wild ride. I've been Jonesy and Nerfed here at the end of this stream.
Yeah, it's been a great it's been a lot of great matches coming out from Harmony yesterday, a lot of great matches in Transcendence today. We didn't get confirmation, I don't think, at any point during the broadcast. However, the Devil Dukes did end up sweeping Gangsters. Same with Amnesia getting swept by Decapitators. That Devil Dukes match, I would not have seen it coming. Navino probably did. So good job, Navino. But I'm not sure about the rest of us. But you know, it's been 2 crazy tiers so far. These brackets are so fun to watch. Just so many matches can go either way, I think, and so many upsets are possible. But to see what matches we have in store for the Discord tier, both EU and NA, check out Tranquility GG to see upcoming broadcast rosters, socials, the store, and more. So much to look at on that website, so definitely go check it out, as we've got a lot of good ones coming up tomorrow in the Discord tier.
And that's, I think, it for us here on the casting bench. It's been an absolute wonderful evening. You all have a great evening. And that's been it for Tranquility Overwatch. Have a great night, folks.